All right, all right. Sorry we're a little bit late here. My internet is going crazy. Welcome to the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. I'm your host, Dorothea Dell, for this evening. I'm super excited because today is launch day for one of my clients here, Mr. Owen Sharp, the author of The Flood of Bovenland. His book came out today, so The Great Flood of Bovenland, definitely out today in uh, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold. But super excited for Owen today. If you have children between the age of 1 to 7, definitely get out there and get this. It would be a great Christmas gift for them. So good job, Owen, and congratulations. All right. So I'm really happy here because we have Dr. Phil in the house. So welcome to the show, Dr. Phil.
Thanks, Dorothy. Great to be here. I really appreciate the honor of being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm excited because now you're refreshed. You just came back from vacation, and
Yes.
and so when we first met and you started telling me what you do, I was just like, whoa, wait a minute, the world needs to hear this. But before we get into what you do, tell the world who you are and a little bit about your background before we get into what you do.
Sure. Well, I used to be a chiropractor and a functional medicine practitioner. My specialty was thyroid and autoimmune disease. And during the process of practicing for over 35 years, I found myself on a journey that I didn't ask for, but I found myself on this journey and was able to discover a particular survival trait that we are born with that actually stops our success. And during the process of researching thousands upon thousands of people over 30 years, we were able to prove that it was actually there, that we are born with it, and found a way to switch it off instantly, and it works 100% of the time. So that's what we do. We work with business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, and salespeople to help them understand why they can't get past their own way, what's happening, why is this frustrating for them, and how to switch it very quickly and move through those success blocks so they can make the impact that they know they can make on the world, their community, and in their family.
Wow. That seems something because all the personal development tools out there, everybody says, self-sabotage, and self-sabotage is a real thing. I don't care who you are. We all have suffered from it at one point or another. And so I find that fascinating that with one thing you can um, eliminate that for people.
Well, eliminate it in regards to, first of all, self-sabotage is essential. Okay, people are like, wait a minute, what? It's essential because it doesn't undermine you. It actually protects you from the very success that you seek, because that success, getting to that success as well as sustaining it, is subconsciously more painful. So we stay in our ineffective behavior. So when you start to release your personal professional power and you hit that wall, the saboteur kicks in to protect you. We call it the inborn sabotaging trait. Okay. But imagine as you start going and you hit that wall again, imagine as you start to contract why that is happening, what trait within you is protecting you, and then using what we call the antidote. That's the solution. And immediately when you use the antidote, you will immediately go into growth. And now you're doing this compared to doing this. And you never get rid of it. You're born with it. So it's a protection. And even if you wanted to get rid of it, it's not a great idea to get rid of a protective device, right?
True.
But so basically, if you're like this, and when all you do is switch it to the antidote, the exact opposite to each other. So when you actually use your antidote, we prove that it's impossible to sabotage yourself and your business.
Wow. And that's money back guarantee.
Yes, yes, money back guarantee. And we have a program called Transcendence 101, from self-sabotage to self-made success, where we sit down. Not everybody is a candidate. We make sure by talking to them and making sure they are a candidate for the program. And then we determine what we can guarantee. Oh, you want this, this, and this? Great, we can guarantee that. And by doing so, we put our 2-week money back guarantee that if after 2 weeks, if they feel this is not right for them, they get 100% of their money back. But no one asks for the money back, because what we're finding out is that everybody makes a major breakthrough the first and second week. So they can see the improvement, they can see it very quickly, and they want to continue and go deeper and deeper into what we discovered.
Right. And so with this practice can you do that, like say like via Zoom or something like that? Or
Oh,
does
yeah.
it have to be in 100% in your office?
No, actually, we have national and international clients. We've had people from Australia to France to, any place in the world. And it's a group coaching course that we do. We also have one-on-ones within that course. And we make sure that person is going to get the results that they will do. If not, then we basically say, we don't think this is right for you.
Right. Right. Wow, that's awesome. You get the I like the fact that you said that you ask the questions first with people before you decide to work with them.
Right.
I've been noticing since the pandemic a huge influx of coaching, and not 100% back money back guarantee.
Yeah, because they
You know.
what we found is that you have a sequence, okay?
Mhm.
And basically, let me go back a little further. The discovery, and what's interesting, no one else has this in the world. No one else is teaching this. So I always tell people, if you're looking for something totally new, we have it. So we discovered that there are actually 3 traits that make up who we are. And we call them the director trait, the supplier trait, and the communicator trait, because that's all we do as human beings. We direct, we supply, and we communicate. That's it. Once we take those 3, once you understand what those 3 are, we place them in a sequence. And that sequence, you have a dominant trait, which is your superpower. Then you have a bridge, which is the mediator trait. And then you have the saboteur. So they work like a seesaw type of reaction.
Right.
Everything's great until you go into an adversity. No matter how small or large it could be and devastating it can be, what happens is majority of times your superpower kicks in to help offset this. And for instance, let's talk about a salesperson. You ever have a salesperson that overly talks? You ever have them where they just,
Oh yeah.
they talk themselves out of a sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they go into that sale, whether or not they're not prepared, or they feel not valued, or they don't want to express themselves, whatever the situation is, their communication will kick in to now show them whether how to they overly talk. So a lot of times I've talked to many sales managers, they would say, yeah, that person would need a communication training course. And I said, no, that's the last thing they need. That's their superpower. What they need to do is, by using their antidote, their saboteur becomes more effective and their communication becomes more effective. We've had people go from 30% to 90% closing rates to doing so much more, because now they're effectively communicating, and they don't have to be a salesperson. It could be a business owner. And that's just one of the sequences. So when we take those 3 and we put them in that sequence, you get 6 sequences of human behavior. So there's really only 6 people in the world. So imagine being on stage, you speakers who may be listening, whether or not you're speaking to 30 or 1,000 people, you're really only talking to 6 people. Imagine knowing how to talk to them on a subconscious level by helping to engage in what you're saying. Imagine knowing the sequences of your spouse, your significant other, your children, your business partners, whomever. Once you understand that, you'll know exactly why they do what they do, and you can help neutralize conflict very quickly.
Wow. That's awesome. So it's kind of like I'm trying to think of the proper word.
Sure.
What do you call personality types? Figuring out somebody's personality type, and with the communication part of it. Anyways, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Right. Well, it's different than DISC and Myers-Briggs and all the other ones, because they usually talk about 4 quadrants. Well, we found 2 extra ones. Okay. Plus, they don't give a solution. We do.
Right.
So, and also, you don't have to worry about this one, 4, this and all that. All you need to focus on is just one trait. Let me explain. You ever see the domino masters? They push this one domino and goes, right, and the last one hits, and let's say balloons are released. Well,
Right.
what's the last thing you see? The
Everything
balloons.
go down.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But you'll see the balloons, and that's what you're
Right.
focusing on, these balloons.
Right.
So that's your imposter syndrome. That's your anxiety, your stress. Everything you see last. So what do? You take your coping methods and do what? You put them on the balloons, not the one domino, because that's what you're seeing. So it's easier. Hold down the balloons, stop pushing the domino. That domino is your one trait, your saboteur that creates every negative emotion that you experience. And we prove that to you. Everything that you experience that is negative is due to this one trait. Once you understand that, and then you flip it, and then you push it the other way, now you're using the antidote, which immediately brings you into growth, motivation, and inspiration instantly, 100% guaranteed. No one's ever proven this wrong.
Wow. And so, as a business owner, what would you say would be the three things that you've had to overcome in business?
Myself. So basically, the sequences that the sequence that I portray is basically I was finding that I was not following through on things. I was scattered. I was not able to. I would wing things, and I wasn't getting prepared to as much. And once I understood what I was doing, then I was able to take everything that I learned and then implement it. For instance, one of the things in our self-help industry that I majorly disagree with is that you have to be fixed. And I said, no, there's no need to be fixed. When you go into that contraction, when you go into the self-saboteur or your protection or whatever you want to call it, at that moment, you're just in protection. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not an idiot or a loser or the other hundreds of words you say to yourself. You're just protecting yourself, and you have no idea the true cause of that protection. That saboteur is the reason. And even if you knew it, you won't even know the antidote. And once you understand it, it's so simple. And that's what for 30 years I kept saying, this can't be this simple. That's why I went out to try to disprove it.
Right.
Once you do that, because I was finding that I took all the best, I took Rowe and Robbins and Zig and all great information, but that information was general. So I had to take that and try to figure out how to apply it to me. What we do is we give you the actual specific thing to do and then use your general information on the antidote. It's kind of backwards in that field. So imagine knowing the one antidote, how to continue and to repeat your success, and then use everything that you've learned onto that one thing instead of the saboteur.
Right.
Does that resonate?
Well, that resonates. Yes, it does. It does.
How many times I got this online course and it was great, but I'm still doing the same thing, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, or you're getting a little bit better, but you realize it's not as much as you thought it was, because a lot of times you're using it on the wrong trait. See, a lot of times with coaches and even psychologists, I've had many psychologists as clients, is that they're focusing on the superpower and the mediator trait because that's what they see, not the hidden trait. And once they see that shift, then everything else falls into place automatically. And it sounds not real, right? I had a marketing person one time go, why don't you say it works like 90%, 97%? It's more believable. I'm like, why do I want to lie to these people? I'm telling you, this works. It's a law that I discovered. So that's the only thing that I know that works 100% of the time is a law. So this goes into physics and everything else, which I'm not going to go into. But this is what we have found. And it works. And, those people that are like, well, this sounds too woo-woo or whatever the case may be, it's actually their saboteur stopping them because they're protecting themselves, because they're seeing me as maybe somebody else that they bought a course or they heard from and it didn't go their way. So they're perceiving me as that, which is fine. But imagine knowing what that is and how many opportunities have you said no to that didn't go well, and how many opportunities that you should have said no to because of your saboteur. And that's what we teach people, is imagine knowing what that is so that instead of going into the extremes, you're kind of like this, and you can make now more calculated risk thought process instead of emotional or just not aware of what you're doing. And after you say yes, you realize, what the heck did I do?
Right. I like the fact that you said that we're not broken, or we don't need to be fixed because we're not broken.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with several of my veterans in the veteran community because, they struggle with PTSD and things like that, coming back from the wars and seeing what they've seen with first responders. And that resonated with me. So when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, right? Because we want to put our first thing is to protect ourselves from the danger.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this isn't the first time I've heard this. In some other teachings, they said, your subconscious is there to actually stop you from, so it's not nothing bad, but it's there to protect you.
Right.
Right. And so when you said that, that totally resonated because it's, and a lot of people just think, it's them or they need something else. But with an actual fact, it's not something that's wrong with us. We're not broken.
Right. It's just their perception of what that is. We had a veteran, 5-tour, 12-year veteran who had PTSD. And within the first week, when he found his antidote, we had him go back and give it to his therapist. Within 3 to 4 weeks, he had made major breakthroughs with that person that he's never made before, and actually found out why he actually went to war when there was something happened when he was smaller. So, and we worked with other people that have been raped and other things, other PTSDs, not just veterans, everything else. And then them seeing what that is and how they can look at that as saying, well, that person is not that person, it's representation of everything else. But one of the things I teach is that everything outside of you is you, right? The person you can't stand is a part of you can't stand. They're just showing up to show you what you're not doing. So when anybody comes in with this happened, this happened, this happened, and they know me, right? And they know I care about them and it's just out of love, I go, congratulations, right? And they're like, what? Yeah, this was an opportunity for you to go back to the old you or stay strong in your antidote and move forward. And I'm like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. But now you know exactly what to do instead of doing the other things that really didn't work for you. So yes, we've helped people in that aspect of it to help them understand it. Now, we're not a therapist. We're not you're a psychiatrist. We don't do that. We don't do any of that. I actually, when I was a chiropractor, I think I sent more people to therapists than orthopedics because I knew the reactions to everything else like that. But when I found this thing, we know that, okay, you're doing this, but if you're having a therapist, you want to go back and tell them. And we've had many people do that with great results.
Right. I love that. And it says here in the show notes that you're also are an author too. Do you want to speak about your book?
Yes. So when I first started this, I was using this information on my autoimmune patients, the sick of the sickest, because they would have these flare-ups. And what we found was that when they had this trigger, they would then have their saboteur kick in, and then they would have their numbing agents, whether smoking, eating, drinking, whatever the case may be, whatever they needed to numb themselves from the pain. Once they understood their antidote and they had that trigger, when they used the antidote, two things happened. They lessened their numbing devices or they stopped them, which would then cause the flare-ups to not be so into a high roller coaster. It would be more evenly matched to help them to understand they had control. So during the process, we were having really high success rates. And then my business owners were making major breakthroughs in the business with this. And I never thought about using it in business. So I started getting referrals all around the world, and I decided to write my book in order to show what I discovered and kind of back it up through all the things I've done. So we call it Life's One Law. And it's basically a 6-step blueprint that nature uses to come back from her storm. And we have the same 6 steps. And how, when I found this, I took the opposites to each other, and that's how I was able to discover the 3 basic principles. And it goes into, those three basic principles govern the atoms of the galaxy, but I focus mainly on the behavior, who we are. So that's how we came up with the 3 traits. So it goes deeply into each step of how to solve any business or personal problem. And then later we talked about more about the saboteur. So that's what the book is about, to really help people to understand how to get through some adversities and things as well.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And where can they purchase your book?
They can go onto my website. It's much easier to find than on Amazon. They can go to TranscendNOW.biz. That's TranscendNOW.biz. And they can go there and they can get a free gift as well.
Awesome. Wow, that's, I'm just thinking of, we talked about, I normally ask people when they come on this show, what 3 things do they do to help their clients overcome? I know you've pretty much talked about that the entire time, but is there any particular client that stood out for you in your years of doing this?
Yeah, a few. I can give you a couple. This one gentleman, I was doing my workshop with them into a business, and he came up to me. He said, my son's always upstairs playing video games. We can't get him downstairs to interact with the family. So he understood what we were teaching him, and I said, okay. I asked him a few questions. We ascertained the sequence of his son, and I told him exactly what to do. Within less than a week, his son was downstairs playing and interacting with the family, because what he realized was he was the one pushing his son back into the room. His son was a particular sequence. He was making fun of him and all that, because that's how he grew up, right? I grew up the same way. You bust each other, and that's how you motivate. But that did the exact opposite to him. So within 2 months, their relationship really skyrocketed. And then he realized, and we showed him what he was doing in the business. And he realized he was doing the same thing with his clients and with his employees and things. And his business increased as well. So what people don't realize is that your professional and your personal life are one. And the saboteur, when you use your saboteur, both are affected at the exact same time. But when you use your antidote, both are affected at the exact same time. So many times people that have problems in the business, by focusing on also the personal life, it helps balance that out, and vice versa. So they have to realize it's all happening in different aspects, in different degrees. And when they realize that it's the same thing, no matter it's with their spouse, with their family, their business partners, their clients, whomever, it's the exact same trait over and over and over again. And it never will go away. But imagine now knowing when that happens, when you feel not in the flow, when you feel resistance or negative or whatever you feel in that resistive way, using the antidote will immediately bring you into growth and into the flow.
Wow. I love that. And it's true, it's like the yin and the yang of everything. You find one, you find the other. And that's usually, but people are like, they don't want to believe that. But truthfully, that is basically the nuts and bolts of it.
See, yeah, everything is in you, right? You are the mass murderer. You're Mother Teresa. You are the ugly person. You're the beautiful person. You are the hateful person. You're the loving person. Everything's within you. It's up to you what you want to tap into and show yourself in the world. So people go, oh, I lost confidence. I said, no, you don't. It's there. You're just using the opposite end of it. Learn how to shift that, and there's confidence instantaneously. So there's no such thing as lack. When you have lack of money is coming in to reinforce what you're vibrating as lack. Once you realize there is no lack, and it's really you, that the lack is there to reinforce where you need to be, where you feel you need to be. Once you shift you, then the money starts coming in. We see that consistently. Or love comes in, or whatever. I can tell you how many times people are not bringing people in because they've had something really horrible happen to them. So what happens is, so I'll give you another thing. So there's 3 basic reasons why we self-sabotage that we discovered. First one is that you had success before and you lost it. so that whoever got to that point again and lost it, it's too painful. So you never get to that point. So if you had a business and you lost it, to be successful again, you don't want to do that because it's more painful. Or if you ever had your heart broken and ripped out by somebody, right? To get to that point of having that love again and losing it again is more painful. So you bring people that are not conducive to you, maybe abusive people, whatever, to keep you from ever finding that love again. The second one is doing what's necessary. You got to do what? I got to listen to this guy. I may have to take his course. I meet all the other guests that you have. I got to buy their book. I got to go back to school. You know what? There's a great new show on Netflix. I'm going to binge watch that. And then I promise I'll do the other stuff. And that's never going to happen. Okay. Because it's too painful to get to that point, to go there. And the third one is more success equals more pain. Many times I've had people, the business owners will come in and say, I want to increase my market. I want to do the marketing. And I go, no, that's the last thing you need. You can't, your foundation is weak. You have no automation. That if you actually doubled your business, and you may see it in yourself or other people, double your business, you're going to have that more pain. You're never going to see your family. You're going to have this. You're going to be overwhelmed. So we've seen people have that great month. And the next month, it's horrible because it's too painful to maintain because they weren't ready. So those are the three reasons why we sabotage ourselves.
Wow. You said so much in all of that. Historically looking back on my life, right? There were several businesses. Of course they failed. So I never wanted to try until, I was working within myself and working with the saboteur and things like that. And really just digging into why I kept stopping at a certain point.
Right.
And you're right, and then you're like, well, screw this because and push past that.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it probably would have been a lot easier if I met you like 10 years ago.
Well, people don't realize a mentor will take 10 years off your learning. So I cannot tell you how many times I didn't hire a mentor where I spent more money trying to figure it out than if I just spent the money with them and then see the results a lot faster and a lot quicker. So that's one of the things we suggest is, it doesn't have to be me. Find a mentor that you're looking for that they've done themselves, right? Not just they just are book smart, but they've done it. They've gone through it themselves. Hire them, find the money, be resourceful. And that's one of the things of being a very successful business person or just a successful person or in your career. You need to be coachable, you need to be committed, and you need to be resourceful. If you're not all three, then I'm just going to let you know, you're just going to have a difficult time. But working on yourself and understanding that, that would be my suggestion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all that you do. I mean, it's mind blowing. When you first were talking with me about it, I was just like, wow, I've never heard it quite this way before. And so thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh, thank you. It's been an honor. I appreciate you. And I hope it was valuable for your audience.
Oh, I have no doubt. Again, here is Dr. Phil's website. Definitely go there right now and just go check him out and see if it's a good fit.
Yeah, we have if they click on inside there, we have a little training that they can sign up for, a video training, and it goes a little more deeper than what we were talking about.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I just want to give a shout out to the last sponsor of today's show. We are having a summit coming up November 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot of people are like confused, and we are going to have them go from confusion to clarity on their way to breaking through to being unstoppable. So we have some amazing speakers coming up, a huge lineup, a lot of incredible people. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of them. Trust me, I'm the last one. So if we don't get to all, we'll get to everybody else first. And then if there's time, there'll be me. But we're also having a panel discussion. And Drew Durenzi, I believe he's friends with you.
Yes,
Great guy.
great guy, very
Huge,
knowledgeable.
huge men's empowerment coach. So this is for men and women. I don't want to leave the men behind. So our slogan this year is no person left behind. So this is a free summit. So go right now to unstoppableovercomers.com/event to get registered today. And I promise
Remember,
you,
they're mentors. That's
they're
what I'm talking
mentors.
about. Go learn from them.
And it's free. It's a
And it's
Saturday
free.
morning.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a
Oh, but I
no-brainer,
got my 9 o'clock. Hey, look, how much do you want this? Right?
right?
What is your why? Why do you get up in the morning? Just to get up? Are you saying good morning, God, or good God, it's morning? That's your question. Why are you getting up? And my strongly suggestion, I know some of those people in there, it is highly recommended from me, which I don't know, you don't even know who the hell I am, but I would suggest watch that and go through that and listen to them and use some of the things that resonate with you. So I'll shut up now.
Well, thank you. No, continue on.
No, I'm very passionate about that because, you got to, if you really want it, what is your why and how are you going to get there? That's it.
Right.
And if you're worried about everybody else, the question is why are you making them more valuable than you?
Oh, yes. As a reformed people pleaser, I get it. Totally, totally. Everybody's opinion mattered. Not anymore. 10 years of working on me. No more.
Yep, finding that balance, right? Not going to the extremes, but finding that balance. And that's great. I'm really happy
Right.
for you.
No, thank you so much. And thanks, folks, for watching. And thanks again, Dr. Phil, for coming on and sharing your wisdom. And go ahead, folks, go to his website right now and take a look. Ask Dr. Phil the questions, and he will have the answers. And we thank you so much for joining us this week. Same time, same channel next week. Bye for now, folks.